All right, hello, cunt. That's the all right. Hello was an Uber Haxer Nova hashtag James reference to creatures, right? All right, hello. That was this thing, anyways. And cunt is a Viggy original, so you're welcome. But yeah, let's draw along. Artwod, cute bots workout, right? Essentially learning how to draw mechs. Right now we're on the hinges section. There's also pivots, balls and joints, all that stuff. Artwod has a fucking article on how to draw mechs, and it's Antonio basically speaking of his teachings on what he learned from Jonas, right? Jonas Minabo, he's a really fucking incredible mech designer, right? And the main thing I'm thinking about right now is the first two things he mentioned, because it was like 5 steps or whatever, 4 steps, whatever. And the first two steps were graphic shapes, large graphic shapes, and functionality in terms of like what type of mech is it, right? Is it sleek? Is it heavy? Is it carrying something? Can it fly, right? Obviously, I'm not doing any of that right now in terms of like can it fly and all that shit. We're just doing hinges, but I think the part where it's like, what type of part is it, right? Like thinking kind of compart. Why am I saying part so much? Jesus Christ, that's just a coincidence. The part where what type of part is it? Compartmentalizing it down to the smallest shapes. That's a doozy, as they say, right? But yeah, draw along, draw along, draw along, draw along. Anyways, I think that's really helpful because I do need to. The biggest thing is clearly I would like to work on my ability to draw large graphic shapes, right? And the most important part of that for me is to actually be able to and Antonio said he struggled with this a lot in the beginning as well, and that's obviously what we're kind of both or I guess me right now, but we were both figuring out at one point because he was just so caught up in the details. And I think the big thing right now is to not think about the details as much and just to draw as it is, right? To just draw as like a relatively simple shape that doesn't really need to have much thought about it. And again, I'm constantly trying to visualize right now, so that's fun. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm actually really enjoying trying to think really hard. The biggest thing I keep not intentionally giving myself crap for, but still, I guess, sort of being hard on myself for is just I personally feel as if I should be thinking a lot harder, but that just comes with time, right? Time and effort. And I'm trying to think about what type of shape this could be, because this is the main hinge, right? And we need to obviously give it the shape that it is. I originally started out with something different in my mind, but I honestly think it's still applicable in terms of the shape I want to draw, right? Because we could do something like this. I'm just thinking right now, because I do have an idea and just need to make sure it's clearly communicated on my end in terms of how I want it to look, right? And I'm obviously trying to think about the perspective while I'm doing this as well. But right, again, I don't want to detail too much. That's just gonna make it more complicated than it needs to be. I made that too far away, so that's a mistake. But I would like to. Yeah, I would like to add that little thing. See, that's the main thing, is it needs to, this shape ended up becoming not, I guess, large and graphic enough, but that's what I'm trying to work on, right? I think big, large, and the thing is, like, I can't tell you right now what these large graphic shapes are supposed to be. You know, I'm still figuring it out, and yeah, sure, this is the hinge, but does it really look like a hinge? I don't think so. Right, I don't think so. I feel as if these were more hinge like. So I'm still trying to understand what it is my design, I guess you could say, is, right? Whether that language I'm trying to speak makes sense. But, and again, I'm like fucking talking in slow motion right now because I'm trying to figure this out. But, I mean, we'll just have to see, right? We'll just have to. We'll just have to see how that goes. The most, I guess, and again, like, this doesn't really look like it's connected. Okay, that was a fucked up line, but I think hopefully you guys and girls saw what I was doing there. So it's kind of the big thing is, and look what I was saying before, because like large graphic shapes, what's the function? You see how, because it's so difficult, it's so fucking easy to forget about all of that. Immediately I could only focus on large graphic shapes, right? Functionality was fucking lost to the goddamn wind, you know? But at least I made a nice little fucking boat ship train out of it. Fucking whatever, I guess. Right? Sure. Kind of looks cool, but obviously nothing to do with the hinge, right? And doesn't really look like it's related to anything mech related. And that's the focus right now. It has to be mech related, right? So I think maybe adding stuff like this obviously adds to it, but this could very well just be I'm just kind of noodling. And actually it's not helping. Anyways, it's good. It's a good error to make. And at the end of the day, already having drawn large graphic shapes is helping me quite a bit. So I'm obviously gonna rest my brain every 2 of these because I need to get better at. Well, I'm gonna do my best to continuously focus on getting better at drawing these large graphic shapes, right? While trying to understand exactly how I can make them look pleasing to the eye. Again, I have an idea, and I guess it just comes down to how well I can understand my own idea. Right, and what I can make of my idea. And again, like the thing I've realized is that everybody has a different way of I mean, it's not really a profound realization by any means, by the way, but everybody has a different way of visualizing, right? We all have different ways we think, therefore we all have different ways that we visualize. So the main and the most important thing for me is trying to capitalize on that, right? And trying to think about how would I visualize this, because who knows if I'll be able to visualize like Peter Han or like Kim Jong-il, but I do know that I can visualize like Viggy, right? That's an objective fact. I can visualize like me. So part of this is actually finding the process in how I think and how I visualize, right? And how that can be beneficial for me. And again, it's extremely difficult because obviously I'm trying to think in many I'm thinking about many things. I'm thinking about designing this. I'm thinking about seeing the perspective, the box. I'm thinking about seeing the mannequin and actually giving it functionality. I'm thinking about trying to see this from different angles in my mind, which I wasn't doing last session actually. So that's really important as well, right? And I'm on top of all of that, I'm just thinking about how I can keep hurting my brain to make sure that I am actually practicing genuinely just good what's it called effort, right? Good amounts of effort. And yes, at the end of the day, as long as I'm trying, that's all that matters. But I love killing my brain. I can't emphasize this enough. I fucking love the feeling where it's just like, bro, I can't even think. In the sense that like it's so difficult. It's just, and this is already, I made so many mistakes, right? So like that's a huge mistake. This right here, what the fuck is that? But you know, that's also a mistake right there. There's a million mistakes. But like it's with the graphic shapes things, right? So there's another whole another aspect to this that needs to be thought about. And I'm really trying to figure out how I can think about them, you know? And I mean really trying to figure it out. Because I'm just also trying to think about how this would be perspective wise. Right? Because there's a lot to do here. There you go. And we can do something like this where it's okay, and how would that look? Again, I'm trying to think about the entire thing all at once, right? So visualize how it would be. I still don't know what this is going to be, by the way. I have no idea what this is going to be. I wish I made it a bit more hard surfacey or multiple rounded at the very least, right? I do wish that because it's a bit too straight right now, but again, it's a good opportunity as a graphic shape to yeah, to see what I can do. Probably I should have blocked that off. See, we just need something that makes a little bit of sense. And okay, maybe I'll add like a cylindrical attachment here. Right, maybe that's what this is. And we can have maybe multiple cylindrical attachments, right? But how does this connect to all of that? Maybe this is, because Antonio did try to talk about in that blog how for him it's just about large graphic shapes. And again, like people say these things, but personally I need it to be broken down to a science, right? Personally, I need it broken down to a science. Like, does something like that even make sense? Something like that. See, comes around or something. Then I don't know. This is just whatever it connects to, right? Okay, well, I tried that. It didn't work, and there's not really a good amount of negative space. So we gotta figure that out for next time. Okay, I'm gonna rest my brain. I'm gonna keep trying to think harder and harder and harder. So yeah. And learning is so fun. I just gotta keep fucking pushing my brain. It's the main thing. Right, how could have this been more hard surface? What if I added something like that? Right? Or something like that, right? Like something, it's basically a form intersection. You know, you don't see it from that side. That would have been nice. I think that adds to a little bit of the hard surfacey nature of it. But again, the hinge needs to make sense, right? So really, we need to start thinking about how, like, we need to start having attachments here. Like I said before, you know, it's all, if it's joints, if these things are joints, right, of a mech, I think I should take a bit more time thinking about the purpose of the mech. Again, I'm very well aware that this shit is extremely difficult, right? Because I just started being like large graphic shapes, and now I'm like, think about purpose, think about function, right? What part of the mech is it? You know. Oh, also visualize the entire thing while you're doing it. Also make sure you visualize the mannequin, especially. Also make sure you're visualizing it in a different perspective than you're already drawing it. And also think about the blocks. Like, what the fuck, bro? Whose brain can do all that? My brain, because I'm God, or I'll train myself to do that. But I'm saying I understand that when I say all these additional things, that doesn't mean I'm going to do them like immediately. It's just about trying to constantly remind myself and keep these things in mind so that when I do anyways, the fucking Jesus Christ, I hate how I leaned into that rather than stopping. But the point is, when I do practice those things that I remind myself, it's kind of like, okay, well, at least I consistently did tell myself to practice those things, right? Like, it's just about keeping it in my mind, you know. The point is, as I continue to improve the basics and the fundamentals of the main three things that I'm focusing on, which is visualizing the mannequin, visualizing the shapes around it, and visualizing it in a different perspective as I'm drawing it. This third one is extremely difficult, by the way, extremely fucking difficult. Try thinking about something in a different perspective while you're drawing it. Just do that with a simple box, right? And then hopefully that will put into perspective how difficult it will be. But the point is, as I keep doing that, it shall hopefully get better. And not hopefully, it will objectively just get better and better, right? That's how learning works. It'll take either 5 hours or it'll take 50 hours. The point is, it will occur, right? As long as I put effort in. And the next step, that little cherry on top is, well, not cherry on top, but still very important thing, is going to be, okay, now think about what part of it is. But I can also try to think about that while I do it, right? So right now, we can just throw out a random fucking, it's a fucking, I don't know, it's a kind of mech. Like, there's too many possibilities. We'll just go Rick and Morty. It picks up pens. Or you pass the butter, right? Like, it picks up a fucking pen. And then we'll be like, this is the shoulder joint for the thing that picks up the pen. Okay, now we got ideas, right? Now we got ideas. So we got to think, okay, how does that work, right? So now that I have the idea for what this could be, I have to think about, okay, like, what part am I drawing that's going to be picking up the pen, or part of the mech that would be picking up the pen? Of course, that comes from drawing the let's see. Okay, now see, we need large graphic shapes, right? So what we need to do, hopefully I'm doing it, right? Start thinking about how these things can start attaching, right? And again, there will be a lot of things that I'm just figuring out in terms of, I guess design is the word I'm looking for. And obviously, perspective will take a hit, right? But the main thing for me is thinking about how these shapes can be utilized, right? And again, here, do something like this. And this will help because I can really visualize what it is that I'm trying to draw. See, that was a mistake right there. But we will figure out a way to make it work. Right? Because I'm thinking in terms of like this can be the attachment that supposedly picks up the pen, right? And it's just about trying to figure out kind of like what makes sense. Because if we're doing big, see, I shouldn't have drawn the inside of that. But if we're just trying to think, okay, like what are these relatively big things? Attachments, hinges. The thing is, I might honestly be at a point where things need to start hinging into each other, right? Like 2-axis hinges, because something connected to something else usually does have a hinge. But clearly, if I didn't do it there, then this is just a skill issue. So we'll see how it goes, right? So now this part is connected here. And okay, if we think about big graphic shapes, right? And I know I'm just kind of doing the same basic diagonal shapes. I'm well aware of that, don't worry. I'm just okay with it right now because I need to figure out exactly how these shapes can start forming something of interest, right? So that's a big part of it as well. And again, I lost my ability to visualize there, so that's fine too. That happens. And maybe this isn't the most mechy of shapes, but I'm just trying to think out loud, right? So that's like maybe this is a shoulder joint, and this right here is what's attached to what's going to pick it up, maybe? What is your purpose? You pass the pen. Dear God. That's right. You're useless to everybody but me. I love you. Anyways. See, I don't even know how this would look. Something like this. There you go. We can just turn it around and ta-da. I'm not thinking about functionality too much, clearly, but it's The point is, it all hinges on this. But does it? Does it really? Does it really look like a hinge? Does it? No. The lines need work also. Lines need work, voice crack. Right. And if that bolt had like no business doing there. Okay. Okay, we're gonna try a different one. Right. And I lost the perspective there. But I'm glad, because the main thing is I'm facing a lot of resistance. So in my mind, obviously. So what I need to do is focus and take my time. Right? That's the main thing I need to do, is focus and take my time. Am I doing enough of that? It's always hard to be sure, but all I can do is keep leaning into that discomfort. Right? Just keep leaning into that discomfort. Now, what can this be? Maybe this can be what type of mech can this be? Right? Maybe it can be what kind, or not mech, sorry, what kind of part? What purpose can this part have? Well, a lot of this comes from ignorance, right? I actually don't know a lot of the functionality of mechanical parts, but we can say that it's attached to something that, I don't know, generates heat. Something completely random. Let's try that on for size. Right, so if it's attached to something that generates heat, well, first I need to actually visualize where the fucking mannequin is gonna be, the hinge mannequin, right? So we'll start with something like this. Right, keep building our ability to draw this thing. Right, and as I'm going through it, I need to think about the perspective. That's incorrect, I'm pretty sure. And again, like, the second I start thinking about the perspective and visualizing it in a different perspective, right, and seeing the mannequin, boom, everything else I mentioned kind of just goes out the window. So I want to be clear on that as well, is the fact that it's very easy to lose it. It's very easy to lose it. Genuinely, it's very easy. Right, but that's the other thing I want to talk about, is the fact that it's okay, I think. Gotta fucking give myself a little out, right? It's okay to be shit. It's all good. Okay. So I'm trying to think. Generates heat, or is connected to something that generates heat. I don't know what that means. I just said a random word because I was like, yeah, that sounds like it's mechanical, but do I know what the fuck that means? Absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. Let's see. Should have drawn this a bit further up too, but I'm just trying to think. Let's see. Go up here, but I have to think about it in terms of like it hinges something, right? So why don't I something like, okay, well, I didn't need to draw it that close, but I already have now. Gotta think about the perspective, obviously. Right, so we have, I can already tell this design is mediocre because I already lost the perspective, right? But yeah, it's actually completely subpar, but that's okay. That's my fault, right? I should have been paying more attention to what it is I was drawing. Okay, we got something like that. And again, like the lack of symmetry really hurts these drawings, right? When you don't have symmetry, it fucks it up. There's no point trying to fix it, even though I did just try. But let's see. Visualizing this is actually very difficult. So if it's large graphic shapes we want, then let me start thinking like Antonio, right? So what would Jonas do? What would Antonio do? We just gotta kind of try to embody people who we already look up to. Try to think about, okay, how would they approach this? Well, they definitely wouldn't have such shit lines. But at the end of the day, oh, what the fuck? There you go. There you go. See, something like that. And then, if it's a large graphic shape, it should be something like this, right? Something similar to what I did here, but obviously we don't want it to be the exact same. So we can, again, let's not lose the perspective. Yeah, don't want to lose the perspective. And I know it's some, I completely understand that this fucking, the red is making it harder to see. That's it, I just understand that. I don't care if it actually it's fucking with your experience. You should be drawing too. What the fuck are you doing just listening to me? But there you go. And we can think about it in terms of something like this, right? Just bring that up. It's something like that. And already that looks way more mechy. Way more mechy. Just gotta think about what this is at the bottom. Right? Because we're still trying to figure out the design. Again, I've completely lost the perspective. I completely stopped visualizing. So many things just did not occur. And they continue to not occur. And I do have to wonder if it's because I'm trying to be fast, but not because I want to be fast, but just because I want to see what I can do with these shapes, right? I'm trying to basically push my mind to the ability there, but it's most likely to its detriment. Let's see, I'm trying to think if this does make sense. Right? Something like that. And then again, how the fuck does this thing over here relate? Well, we could just have it be a plating. It does exist, right? Something like this does exist. And what else? So how did I connect this? Just little connections right there. And again, it doesn't really seem like it's gonna hinge. So what we need is to connect it again. I'm trying to keep the perspective in mind. There you go. And then we can just do something like that. That looks okay, I think. Right? I think that looks relatively okay. But the lines do need a lot of work, for sure. And so does the perspective, to be honest. Because, like, what? This is our hinge, again. And does it really look like it's hinging something? Not really, right? It doesn't really look like it's... And this could have been a lot better. But... And don't get me wrong, I'm actually very satisfied, because I did put an effort in, but... I'm going to continue being my biggest critic, what the fuck, and give myself the biggest critique, I guess, is that I need to put more effort into visualizing. So I'm going to rest my brain. I need this last half hour, because otherwise I'm going to be annoyed at myself that, because I'm enjoying the process, I'm just not liking how little energy I'm putting in. Like, I should be fucking killing my brain, and I'm not doing that. So the next half hour, it just has to kill my brain, right? Or I'm just going to throw a bitch fit. And then I'm going to have another perspective shift, and I'll come back next video and be like, guys, I know how to love learning again. So let's avoid that. But yeah, I encourage you to rest your brain as well. All right, cool. I'm back. Yeah, I just need to, because my main thing is I always need or want to get used to, what's it called? Really using my brain, right? That's the main thing, is just, oh, there you go. I was like, it's too much of a blob. It needs to be less blob-like, right? So that's my main thing. I want to always be using my brain, right? Now, how can I do a graphic shape over yonder? Which is why I need to think. God damn it. Just think for once, Viggy. I keep forgetting to refer to myself as my nickname. One day I'm just gonna dox myself because I'm gonna say my actual name. Okay. Yeah, see, this is a good problem. It's problem solving too, right? If reverse engineering is how can we fit what we're trying to fit into this. Trying to think. So maybe I could have the mannequin. And again, I need to visualize the mannequin consistently in my mind. But if I have the mannequin like this, maybe that could work. Or maybe I could do this upside down again, right? The bottom angle. Let's see if I could do this in the bottom angle. Something like that. And then what? No, I already tried something like that just here. So we need to do something different, obviously. I mean, it could be a different type of bottom angle. Let's see. Yeah, don't mind me, I'm just thinking out loud, right? This is a fun part of ideation, and now I'm really trying to hurt my brain here. So actually, I need to focus even more. What could I do? Because I have to constantly think about the mannequin. I need to be rotating that shit in my mind, right? Oh, now it's hurting. There, now this is what I need. This level of difficulty, just constantly trying to see that mannequin and rotate in my mind as like in this shape, right? So where could it fit? Could fit like that actually. Let's see what that does. Let's see what we can do with our graphic shapes there, right? So we'll do something like this. And I need to see it at all times. That's my goal. Right? I need to see that shit at all times. This is hurting my brain. I'm very happy. Very, very happy. There you go. Again, that is so off. It's hilarious how off my perspective is being. But That means it can be worked on. Right? Gotta keep thinking about that box too. That's another thing. I can't just think about the perspective, I gotta think about the box. Right? So I have to now think about some things. In terms of the hinge, right? Which is... Well, first, let's do this. I need to work on that as well. So many things that need to be worked on. It's amazing. Okay. For the first time, I'm going to make this thing come down. Basically like this. There you go. See, that looks a lot more like a hinge. But now I'm also trying, okay, I really need to think about what is it connected to. Right? So it came down like that. That's this side. And the other side is also... There you go. And we can connect it like so. Right? The perspective ended up being a little bit off, but you know what? It's okay. Right? So we got this. And I think, at the very least, I want something like this. I do. I want something like this. Right? Now the next step is to obviously start... Oof, that's hurting a lot. I'm trying to think about how we can connect it down here. Perhaps... That's not bad, actually. Perhaps we can... I'm trying to think right now. Because it needs to be functional, right? Okay, see, I already forgot about, like, oh, what part of this thing is this attached to? I'm just trying to think about the general functionality. You know, like, what type of mech part, whatever. I can't think about that right now. I'm trying my best, but already the perspective and the visualization and just trying to understand what the next step is. I love this. It's so much fucking effort. This is the type of effort I need to put in at all times, to the best of my abilities. Just trying to see this, right? And let's see, if we're thinking large graphic shapes, right? This kind of already breaks that, but is there anything I can do that turns it into a large graphic shape? First, let me just... Oh, see, like I lost the perspective again, but then I got it back slightly. Right, so it's all over the place, and that's the best part. Always gotta keep killing our brains, everybody. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna leave that as that. That's already a mistake, but I'm just trying to think about quote unquote large graphic shapes, right? Large graphic shapes. What the fuck? What does it mean? Is a real question. What does it mean? Let's try to think. Okay, if we're doing like super just mechy shape, then I can do something like this. Like this can actually take up a lot of space. I think I can agree on that. I just need to see the perspective again. So yeah, that could take up a lot of shape. And then we can make the rounding go inward this time. We can do something like this. See, it lost the perspective, but I'm not even gonna look at the perspective. I'm just gonna try to regain it in my mind. It's close. It's very close, which is okay. Not bad at all. Right. Now, it's just about what does this do? Okay, because we can't. We have to think about functionality, right? Things attached to things, whatever, that's fine, but it can't just always be like this, right? I liked what I did here. We're kind of extending outwards, because this is right now my mind's leaning towards something like this, where it's just attached, but that doesn't make any sense. So what we need to do is actually break out of that mold somehow here, even though everything seems to be leading towards that, right? I actually completely did this in the wrong perspective, but because I lost it. Oof, that's an amazing thing. But the funny thing is, because I know my perspective relatively well, I can go back and I can fix it. So you actually won't even know what originally perspective I was thinking, and you just won't know because I fixed it. Hashtag I'm God. Fuck, never mind. I fucked that up. Okay, so the question becomes here, right? What does. Can we just do something like that? And then. See, it's not located correctly, obviously, and I'm really trying to see this in my mind as well as I can. And we'll just honestly just say this is a double axle hinge, right? It doesn't hurt to start introducing that even slightly in our designs, in terms of a hint, right? A hint of that. But we can just leave it as a hint for now. My lines do need to be a lot better, but it's okay. We'll just call it off like that for the time being. Right, we'll just do something like that, whatever. But we just need to think, and maybe I'll add a cylinder. Fuck it. Okay, whatever. But we just need to think. Okay, what kind of hinge are we thinking about here? Because it has to make sense, right? I want it to make sense to a degree. So I know I keep losing the perspective in my mind and the visualizing I got the mannequin hinge right now, so I just have to think, okay, what are the things surrounding it that would look okay? And perhaps it's just a matter of, let me think. Oh, I could do this actually, couldn't I? There you go. And that just... Oh wait, I actually fucked it up. It should have been like here. But the point being that this can just go wherever it wants. Right? And then we can just, that way this is separate from this. Yeah, lines definitely need to be a lot better. And I'm fucking myself over with this goddamn red thing by not staying in the fucking confines. I'm really fucking myself there. There you go. See? There you go. Ta-da! Something. Well, okay, that was actually completely off perspective. Jesus Christ. But I guess I can just say that's also... There you go. Whatever. But I think that's something. And it's like, okay, it's clear that like this is attached to something else, and then this is attached to something else. Still working on it. This is an okay design. Let me rest my brain. There's a lot of struggle there. I really tried to visualize. Definitely a lot of struggle. Was it as much struggle as I wanted it to be? Is it ever? Who knows? Who knows? But I'm gonna rest my brain. I'm gonna try again. Anyways, I also might, because honestly, art is an infinite game, right? I can just, the point of the game is to keep playing. Hashtag Alex Hormozy. But but what's it called? I was just thinking, I might honestly, after this bout, or after this page, you could call it, um, just go back to drawing this hinge mannequin, but literally in like every single, you know how the people do that grid, like that cube grid, and it's like every single perspective possible. I'm gonna try to do that so I can really internalize this fucking shape, right? Not in an aggressive way, but in a loving way. And then use my I have a green brush pen of this. I'm just showing the color, but it's not the same pen, right? And just draw over that with different designs, so that way I can really start ideating. Like while obviously like as a second round after, drawing over hinge shapes. We'll see. We'll see. That's just an idea I have. We don't. The biggest thing with art is that you can do everything, right? Like there's quote the whole there's so much to learn, right? And then the happy person, the sad person. I'm the happy person, but at the same time I also fuck about it. This is why I took the red pen out, I forgot. But at the same time I can also get, I guess, it's not overwhelmed, but yeah, like sort of caught up in my own random decisions, right? It's like, oh, is this the best way to do it? Is this the best way to do it? But I'm just gonna stick with this, probably. I'm just thinking out loud, and you're basically hearing just the ramblings of someone who is trying to figure out the best method. But the best method is the one which you stick to and you refine, right? And you just exhaust. So we exhausted multiple rounding from the fundamentals for like fucking 20 straight hours, right? Now we're gonna exhaust cute bots and just get better at drawing mechs, you know? Expect another 50, 60 hours of this, but the segment of that we're gonna exhaust within this is hinges, right? Understanding hinges to a relative degree. I think the best thing to do is do an entire another page, like another 2 hours roughly of this, and then do another hinge, right? And then do another like couple pages, 3, 4 hours of that, 5, 6 hours of that. So right now we should probably not overwhelm ourselves and just only be like, okay, 2 hinges, 2 pivots, 2 ball and joints, right? There's a lot there's a lot of things that can be created with that variety, but the difficult part is just internalizing it, right? So I just need to focus on that as well. And I think the biggest thing is just with my thinking, like if I just keep focusing on visualizing, I'll probably get rid of 90% of my problems. You know what I mean? Because it's truly is all about seeing the like the shapes I want to draw over the hinge more than anything, right? So I already messed this up, but now I have the opportunity to see how I can fix it, right? And then that way I can keep trying to see the hinge in my mind. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Actually, this isn't even that bad. I feel as if I could turn into this. Right? Again, proportions are going to be changed. But I don't think it hurts to try what I'm doing right now. Again, it's just we do it and we learn, or we or it's just kind of and we're like, okay, that is not something that's working, right? So now this is like, okay, this is something that didn't work. I can say that with relative confidence now, right? Again, trying to think about the big shapes has been very difficult, but that doesn't mean it's not doable. I decided to change my mind back, and I'm back to trying the more smaller versions. See, now this is the actual hinge. That's the mannequin I'm thinking of. And I'll try something unique. Or not unique, sorry, novel. I'll try something that I haven't tried before. Right? I really haven't been thinking about perspective anywhere near as I should have. But that just comes with practice. See, like I fucked that up again. But let's think. Let's see. We'll do the same thing here. Okay, so I have like a relative idea of what I'm trying to do. Okay, again, like the whole what part is it attached to shit, right? Let's see. I guess this can be a foot. This can actually be the foot. Right, that actually helps a lot in terms of trying to figure it out. Yeah, this can be the feet. There you go. Something like that. Right. I'm just trying to think. What else should I do? Cool, maybe something like that. Again, do I really, am I trying to over detail it? No. Am I over detailing it? Perhaps. It's very, very likely, but I just need to visualize. That's the only thing I need to do right now. Let's see how we can. Right, something like this. Maybe something's covering it. I am doing my best to also think out loud, but please be warned, it is very difficult to think out loud while you're fucking drawing a goddamn mech thingy. There you go. Right, and this needs to, maybe this can actually tie into like that. Right. Now, does that make sense? We will find out. We will find out whether what I've done makes sense. trying to figure out where it could go from here, right? Do I want this to go inwards or outwards? How do I want this shape over here to be attached? Right? Could we just do something like this? And then could we multiple round it? We could multiple round it. There you go. Wonderful, wonderful. Nice. So that's a mech part. And to really hone in that it's a hinge, we could add something like this. Right? Good old cylinders coming to the fucking rescue as always. But this is the hinge inside of it. So this is hopefully, I don't think it's really articulated well enough. So again, we need to keep trying to understand how we can articulate the actual functionality of the hinge, right? Because right now it's just whatever. I don't know, maybe I sound like I'm not liking it. I think it's okay. I'm just happy I'm putting in an effort and trying to visualize it, right? But the main thing for me is just like, what is it even hinging like, right? If I do something like this, right? Then something like this work. Something like this shape, right? And it's kind of going through there. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, clearly there's been a great improvement since this to this, right? We cannot discount, obviously, all the effort I've been putting in, but... And the fact that I've actually been consistently been able to try to make new shapes. These are all like great improvements. I think the biggest thing is I just want to be able to visualize a bit better. Next hour, not today, but tomorrow, will probably be just be filling 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like a bunch of tiny things around this page, right? I could probably do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many have I done right now? I've only done 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I can apparently only do 4 at a fucking time, right? Did I do this session? No, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What the fuck? When did I do all that? Okay, either way, it's been an hour and 3 minutes. What are my thoughts? I think I'm doing great in terms of constantly ideating and trying to figure things out. I would like to consistently visualize more, right? Let me just do it right now. Like, I do want to see the mannequin for this a lot better, right? A lot better. And I think I just need to lean into the visualization I do, which is clearly not the visualization that others do. I keep trying to see the drawing on the page. I'll be honest. I keep trying to see it on the page, but I do so much better when it's this sort of half and half. Maybe this doesn't look that good to you guys, but for me, the feeling I'm getting from visualizing it the way I naturally want to visualize it, which is this sort of calculating in my mind, right? Like, I'm calculating in my mind and I'm kind of seeing it on the page. That to me feels a lot more organic, and I feel a lot more confident in these lines that I'm making, by the way. I don't know if you can tell, but it feels a lot better to me, like the way I'm doing it right now in terms of visualization. Like, genuinely, it feels fucking like I'm thinking a lot, don't get me wrong. It's just the friction to that thinking it feels comfortable, if that makes sense. And it's hilarious. I've actually spent months trying to visualize with the thing on the page, but this feels so much fucking better. And obviously I still don't know how to draw little unique adding additions and all that. Like, what else could this be? Blah, blah, blah. Like, whatever. That's not the point. The point is, and I know my lines weren't the best either. So those are things I need to work on too. Like, really getting this nice and crisp, right? Really seeing the perspective as I draw. Because this is the shape that's been the most difficult. It feels like this is already better in terms of my lines. But again, I don't really see the perspective here. So that's something I need to work on as well. I need to always see the box no matter what, right? And I am definitely doing a concentrated effort for that, right? But I'm just trying to think. See, I lost the box again. There you go, see? It's already so much better. Same here. Well, that was incorrectly drawn, but still. Okay, see, so that needs work, and I'm okay with that, right? Also, like, I just lost it completely, but good. That was mental friction. I was facing a lot of friction there, right? But that's the thing I want to really work on, just continuing to internalize that hinge, drawing shapes around it. These look okay, I think, right? There's some complexity, but the hinge is yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. It feels as if this shape actually kind of lost it all, much like Aaron. But even if I did something like that where I gave it a connection, I feel as if that's already a bit better. But and then, you know, we could just do something like that, right? But I feel very uncomfortable in a good way, by the way. Like, my brain is trying to rack this together. Maybe I'm still a bit disappointed that I didn't put in as much effort as I could have. Don't get me wrong, I feel as if I put in a solid 60 to 70%, but I'm always aiming for like that 80 to 90, right? Of pure discomfort and agony. So I think it's just a training thing. Just gotta keep training my brain to be in that state and keep leaning into it. It's very easy to get out of it. And again, narrating while you're doing it is a whole fucking different other beast. So it's all just a skill issue in it. I had fun. This was actually really cool, to be honest. I've been able to ideate some decent things, and we'll just keep going. Tomorrow I'm just gonna keep going, right? I know I say things here and there in between my sessions, like, oh, maybe I should do this, or oh, I'm not feeling blah blah, but those are just thoughts I get out to get out. I still internally consistently reinforce and honestly just force myself to feel good when I'm making errors and when I'm making mistakes and when I'm learning, right? To the best of my ability. And I hope you do the same as well, to the best of your ability. But with that being said, right, as always, fuck you for watching. I keep drawing, and please give me money. Thank you.